Jungkook was visibly sad that night, not with tears falling or exaggerated expressions, but with a heavy silence. In the midst of the camera spotlight and the crowd that he is usually able to face with a calm smile, something is different. His gaze lowered more often, his pace slower, as if he were carrying a burden that he did not want to share with anyone. The sensitive fans immediately caught the change. There is an unannounced sadness, but it is clear enough for those who are used to reading Jungkook's body language. That situation becomes even stronger when Taehyung, who has been known to choose his words carefully, finally reveals something unexpected. Not a big announcement, not even a neatly arranged confession. He spoke in a low, honest tone, as if he were talking to just one person, even though the world was listening. Taehyung admits that there are times when he chooses to remain silent, not because he doesn't care, but because he fears that his words will hurt the people he protects the most. The confession felt like opening a thin curtain that had been covering their feelings. Jungkook's grief that night seemed to find context. Many have realized that it is not about failure or external pressure, but rather about emotions that have been pent up for too long. Jungkook is known as a strong figure, who rarely shows fragility in public. This time, however, the force seemed to change shape, into a fragile calm, into a quieter presence than usual. He listened, stared, and accepted what Taehyung said without interrupting. Taehyung talks about distance that is sometimes invisible but feels real, about how two people can be in the same place, surrounded by many people, but still feel alone. He admits that in his quest to keep things safe and under control, he may miss the opportunity to say the simple things that are actually most needed. There's a feeling that never goes away, he says, just waiting for the right time to be understood. The sentence immediately resonated, not because it was dramatic, but because of its frankness. That Jungkook's reaction was barely moving. But it is precisely there that the emotion is felt most strongly. His shoulders slumped slightly, his breath held for a moment, then he nodded slowly. For many fans, the nod felt like an answer to something that had been hanging in the air for a long time. No reply, no clarification, just a quiet acceptance, as if Jungkook had finally heard what he had wanted to hear. Not a promise, but a confession. After that moment, the atmosphere around them changed. No noise, no attempts to distract. People who were near them described a quiet but warm atmosphere. Taehyung stood a little closer, neither touching nor blocking the space. A respectful presence, which gives Jungkook time to process his own feelings. It's not a scene designed for the public, but rather a humanized moment that just happens to catch the world's eye. Fans reacted in an unusual way. No heated debates, no exaggerated claims. Many chose to remain silent, writing lengthy reflections on how they felt the emotion touched them. Jungkook's sadness feels real because it's not on display, while Taehyung's confession feels shocking because it's not meant to be shocking. The combination of the two creates a deep resonance, a reminder that emotional honesty often comes in its simplest form. What makes Taehyung's confession so unexpected is his courage to admit imperfection. In an industry that demands an image of stability and control, he chooses to say that he can also misjudge time, wrongly choosing silence. He neither blames the situation nor seeks justification. He only mentions his feelings as they are, at the risk of being misunderstood. And in the face of Jungkook, that honesty seems to find its place. Over time, Jungkook's grief is no longer seen as a pressing burden, but rather as an ongoing process. His smile slowly returned, but with a different depth. Many felt that no matter what was happening behind the scenes, that moment had changed something. Not dramatically, but fundamentally. Strong relationships are not always characterized by laughter or lively togetherness, but by the ability to face sadness together without having to explain it to the world. That in the end, Jungkook's grieving story and Taehyung's unexpected confession are not about hype or speculation. It's about two human beings who choose honesty in the midst of tremendous pressure, about the courage to say what has never been said, and the courage to listen without demands. And maybe that's what makes this moment so special, because it feels real, fragile, and so human. the silence did not end as they separated from the scene. Even after that, the meaning deepens. Several people who were around Jungkook that night said that his sad expression was not something that came suddenly, but rather the culmination of emotions that he had long harbored. There is an invisible fatigue, an unspoken sense of longing, and perhaps also a regret that never really finds a way out. Jungkook continues to live up to his professional obligations, but there is a subtle distance between himself and the world, a distance he doesn't usually show. Taehyung, on the other hand, seemed more reflective than usual. He does not try to attract attention after his confession, as if understanding that the words he has spoken need space to be accepted. Some observers refer to Taehyung's attitude as a form of emotional responsibility. He did not leave Jungkook with a new burden, but instead opened up space for honesty that had been delayed. In a world that is fast-paced and demands instant reactions, this waiting attitude feels rare. The days after that moment were filled with interpretation, but also with empathy. Many fans realized that what they were witnessing was not a conflict, but a process. The process of understanding each other amid inevitable change, pressure, and distance. Jungkook didn't cover up his grief completely, but he also didn't make a spectacle. He chose to remain present, albeit with a calmer, more restrained energy. This choice actually makes many people feel closer to him. Interestingly, the moment made many people look back on their long journey together. From the early days, full of laughter and spontaneity, to the more complex and thoughtful adult phase. Jungkook's grief and Taehyung's confession seemed to mirror that new phase, a phase where feelings are no longer simple, but also do not lose their sincerity. There is a growing maturity, albeit accompanied by a sense of loss for the simplicity of the past. On several occasions afterwards, small interactions between them were again seen, not in the form of ostentatious warmth, but rather subtle attention. Brief gazes, pauses that wait for each other, and body language that shows that they are still reading each other. For fans, it is these details that speak the most. No promises were announced, yet there was a continuity that felt real. That Jungkook's grief slowly changed its meaning in the public eye, no longer as a sign of a rift, but rather as evidence of emotional depth. Not everyone dares to allow himself to look fragile, especially in a position that is always strongly demanding. Jungkook did so without words, and precisely because of that, many felt represented. Meanwhile, Taehyung's courage to express his feelings, albeit briefly and without details, is considered an important step. He showed that acknowledging imperfection is not weakness, that in the end, this story does not give a definite answer, and perhaps it was not intended for that. It leaves room to understand that human relationships don't always go straight. There is silence, there is distance, there is sadness, but there is also an effort to remain honest. Jungkook and Taehyung don't offer an easy-to-digest story, but that's exactly what makes it feel real. And perhaps therein lies the greatest strength of this moment. Not in what is clearly revealed, but in the emotions that are felt without the need to explain. A reminder that behind all the accomplishments and highlights, there are two human beings who continue to learn how to understand each other, even when it means having to go through grief together.